So the Pajama Janitor returns with his lost chapters and LD boards. And a very underrated character actually gets some really prominent upgrades with Young. We have a lot to talk about, more so for Young rather than Desch. There's not really going to be really much need to talk about Desch. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in. As always, big shout out to the Tomberry Troop for the lovely infographics that we'll be displaying in this video. Lovely group of people. If you're not following them on any of the social media platforms such as Facebook and or Reddit, or giving the website a check-see, make sure you go do so, as they're a lovely group of people and very helpful to the community. So let's start out with Desch. He's the main man of the banner, but there's not really much to talk about. So thanks to his LD extension boards, he's actually able to get his LD buff at the beginning of the quest, making it so you really only need to utilize the LD when you really need to. You don't actually have to pop it right away for him to get those amazing auras and damage mitigation that he gets from that LD buff. And then he gets more damage just from the LD doing LD things. He's a prominent Thunder and Peril and Enchanter, versatile in mitigating damage all around and mitigating physical and magical damage depending on what you need. Desch is relatively the same, just with some minor upgrades and the level 80 awakening to make him that much more better. He's very RNG dependent, but at the same time he's still a very strong character that's very splashable into a lot of teams and very versatile to take on specific content for what you need, and switching in between defensive stances to give you a better standing depending on the situation that you need it. Not much else needs to be said. Desch is still phenomenal. I do still think he's a character worth pulling and grabbing. Now let's go ahead and talk about the other character who I definitely think is very underrated, and let's go ahead and talk about Young. So Young did get a minor rework to his kit. So brave damage, potency increases, and more hits. You know, standard rework stuff, just without any like additional brave dumps. And on paper, that sounds kind of bad, especially for a DPS unit, but let's talk about that LD. So the LD is a double HP damage dump. It gives him access to a frame buff for 2 turns. While this frame buff is active, your allies cannot be broken. He gives a plethora, my voice cracked, a plethora of auras, such as overflow increase, physical attack, and a bunch of other nice, well-rounded goodies into a really strong frame buff. And Young will actually execute a follow-up attack after every enemy action and every ally action, which is a split damage HP attack. This is phenomenal because here we are, ladies and gentlemen. You have a buff that only lasts for 2 turns. Sure, 2 turns. But what happens if you pair him alongside of a character like Terra, who gets 5 free turns to herself while her burst is active, and with another prominent character alongside of her? With proper setups, this is disgusting. Not only that, it does have defensive utility to avoid breaking, so you don't have to worry. Yes, it is only up for 2 turns and cannot be extended, but this gives Young versatility into a lot of different team compositions, and very well suited for team compositions that benefit from multiple attacks or multiple turn taking characters such as Terra, Lightning. Imagine Noctis's burst follow-up with this. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of possibilities that you could do and lots of routes that you could take, and I do think that Young is a very underrated DPS style of character. Now we also have some pseudo supporting capabilities with some decent auras going off to the party, so you could just pair another strong support character alongside of him and another DPS, and you're ready to go kick some faces in. Overall, I think Young is a very, very, very strong character. Being able to have some supporting capabilities with some decent aura supplying, as well as a massive amounts of follow-up damage, off-turn damage, which is fantastic for like boss rush and things like that. I think he's a great character and well worth the pickup if you are looking to pick up and play Young, and grab that LD of his. And that'll pretty much wrap it up for me on this one, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.